All right, so we're checking out the ALLPOWERS R600 power station. So this is one of these budget entry-level power stations. It has 299 watt-hours of rated capacity. It does have a pretty nice inverter on this one. It's a 600 watt pure sine wave inverter that can burst to 1200 watts, and I'll show you how that works a little bit later. You have a cigarette lighter port here, LED light in the front, some DC ports here in the front. You have two 100 watt USB-C type or USB Type-C power delivery, and then you have two USB-A quick charge 3.0 ports at 18 watts, and then you have two of these AC ports here in the front. Just some ventilation ports here on the side, just for air cooling. Same on the right side. And then you have this is where the input goes in for AC. You have an AC overload button, and then you have your XT60 there. This is going to be for your solar charging and also for the car charging if you want to charge it via your 12 volt outlet. And that solar car input port is rated from 12 to 60 volts at 8.8 amps max. There's nothing in the back. On the top here you have a handle, plus you have a wireless charger for your phone. So I did do a capacity test right away. I charged up to 100%, and then I drained it down to 0% through the 12 volt car port here, the cigarette lighter port. So it's 12 volt DC drain at around 120-ish, 25 watts, somewhere in there. It didn't take very long, just a couple of hours, and I got about 267 watt hours out of the 299 rated. So there is definitely some losses going on inside in terms of the conversion, the voltage conversion inside here. A little bit lower than expected. I was hoping for a little bit higher, but compared to some of the other power stations out there, it's about in line with what you're going to get through a 12 volt outlet. So ALLPOWERS did send me two of their 100 watt folding solar panels, and they come with MC4 connectors and then an MC4 to XT60 connector. So I connected the two panels in series, and then I connected to the R600, and on a very sunny day, got roughly 100 and I think it was around 150 watts, 175 watts, somewhere in there. And it, for the efficiency of on that particular day, I think I was about right. It was a pretty sunny day, no clouds in the sky. Overall, those panels seem to be pretty good quality. They came with some adapters and other cables for DC connections to other types of power stations, but it definitely came with the cables that'll work with this power station. So the battery chemistry that's inside here is lithium iron phosphate. That's pretty standard for power stations these days, and that does give you a very long lifespan. It's going to be about 10 years. They're saying about 3,500 cycles. It's probably going to be more than that in the end of the day. And of course, the BMS on this particular power station does come with all the standard protections: overcurrent, overcharge, over discharge, low temperature, high temperature, etc. And for those of you who are curious as to how long 299 watt hours can power certain devices, here's sort of a chart or a little list of some of the typical stuff that you might want to power from this and how long it'll last on a full charge. And if you're worried about the warranty, I wouldn't worry too much about this one. This particular company does offer a 5-year warranty with their power station, so it'll probably last way longer than that, but in case you're concerned, it does have a warranty for 5 years. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and connect up a whole bunch of devices on here, DC and AC, and we'll see what the power draw is on here on the display. And I actually tested all these individually, but I'm going to do all of them at the same time. Now, the way the AC will work, it'll actually go to 600 watts pretty much continuously, that's like the continuous rating, and it'll go over for short bursts. It'll go up to 1200 watts for a very short amount of time. Now what I'll do is I'll hook up a hair dryer, and I'll show you that it's going to go over like 600, like it's going to be like close to almost to 700. It'll go probably a fair amount of time here, and I'll show you what happens. Just want to show you what happens when the overload or the overcurrent protection kicks in. So this is the hair dryer here on the AC. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. You see the little green light here. The DC is already on. This is the hair dryer. I'm going to put in the load setting, which is going to kick it into about 670, 680 watts. And then you'll see after a short time, it'll shut down. That's the overcurrent protection kicking in. There we go. And it kicked in there. And you get a little error code on here and some beeps. And all you have to do to reset things is basically you just power off the power station and then turn it back on. There we go. And that should clear that. We'll go ahead and turn everything back on again. I'm going to keep the hairdryer connected, but we're going to leave it off. All right, so I got you can't see it's off screen here, but it's an electric blanket. It's going to be connecting via the cigarette lighter adapter, and this one draws about 50 watts. So what we're going to do is we're going to load up the DC side here, and we'll have a power draw on here. So go ahead and turn on this little switch here, turn this on. Now we've got that electric blanket turned on. That looks like it's drawing about 53 watts. And then I'm going to stick my phone up here on top. And I'll start charging there. That's going to add probably like another 5 watts. Yeah, 3 watts, not a whole lot. A little bit, so we're up to about 57 watts. A little fluctuation there, 60 watts. 61, okay, it's still going up. So I'm going to leave that going. And then I'm going to plug in a couple of 18 watt power banks here. All right, plug in a power bank. So that should jump this up to about 78 watts, I believe. All right, going to plug in another power bank into the 100 watt port over here. And we should jump this up to about 170 watts or so. All right, so now we're at 175. I'll plug in one more. And this one will also draw about another 100 watts, and so that should take us up to like 270-ish, I think. Almost 280. So all these DC devices are now drawing about 280 watts. Let's go ahead and turn the light on as well. Whoops. All right, so now got the light on here, and that doesn't really draw too much power. Looks like it's maybe a watt or two. So let's go ahead and just turn that off. Yeah, it's just a couple of watts for this LED, so it makes almost no difference, but we're at 276 watts. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn on the hairdryer again, so that should take us to, let's see, almost 1,000 watts, and I know that it'll shut off because the AC will overload. But before we do, let me actually plug in a heat gun into the other one here, and then I know that draws 300. All right, we got a heat gun here. This one draws about 300. Yeah, so now we're at 600 and something. So about 300 on the AC and about another 270 on the DC side. And hear the fan kicking in. So turn the heat gun off and turn the hairdryer back on. And then this should definitely kick off the AC stuff, but I think the DC stuff will stay on. There we go, 940, 950. And there we go. So the AC inverter shut off as it should, but all the DC stuff that's plugged in here is continuing to work no problem. So let's go ahead and we'll just reset the whole power station now. Okay, so yeah, all the devices work properly and within specifications. Obviously, this is an entry-level power station. It doesn't have a huge amount of capacity. So if you're interested in getting like a sort of an idea of how to expand your capacity with like an external 12-volt battery using the XT60 port on the side here, I have a video about that. Let me know if you're interested in seeing that in the comments below, and I'll send you a link to that video. It sort of explains how to really expand your capacity without a whole lot of extra cost. Now, this new model here, this is actually like a third revision of the R600. was supposed to have working Bluetooth, according to this. It says Bluetooth here. You long press this button and it will turn it on, which I did do. So you long press this, you get a little Bluetooth icon here, but I'm not able to connect to it with my phone. I've tried several different phones and it doesn't seem to have a Bluetooth radio that's broadcasting. It's not being picked up on by any of my devices, but all my devices are Android devices, so it's possible it may only work with iPhone. I'm not 100% sure about that. Kind of disappointed that it does not work. Probably not a big deal. Usually the app just shows you what's on the screen and does allow you to control the AC and DC remotely. But other than that, it usually doesn't do a whole lot. So I'm not exactly sure if I'm doing something wrong. Did follow the instructions. I have it enabled. I just am not able to connect with the app. I did install the app. They have an Android app, but doesn't see the power station or able to connect to it. So unfortunately, you can't demo that free there. Obviously, if you bought this and it's under the 5-year warranty, I'm sure ALLPOWERS will either have you sent it in for repair or replace it for you. But for me, it's like not a big deal. I'm not going to mess with the warranty for that particular feature. That's something that I don't particularly use a lot. But just letting you know that the reason you're not seeing that demoed in this review is because it wasn't working on my particular sample. Anyway, that's going to cover for this video. I'll have a link to this down in the video description if you guys want to check it out. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video.